Hi guys, my name's Seb Shooter, I'm the man on Silver Mountain and welcome back. Today I want to kind of take what we've been talking about this week, which is expectations, and kind of flip it on its head a little bit because I want today to talk about catfishing. And for those of you who don't know, oh, focus please, camera, there we go. For those of you who don't know, catfishing is very much kind of an internet phenomenon, more so than anything else, where you'll interact with a person, they will seem to be one kind of person, be they looking a certain way, being a certain type of person, being a certain sex or whatever else, and then you will find out after the fact that they aren't that way. And from my experience, which I will be sharing with you in just a moment, there are three different kinds of catfish. And this is usually something that isn't really touched on in regards to the differences and how to deal with them, which is kind of what I want to get into. But first off, how does this relate to what we're talking about? Well, simple. This week we've been talking about expectations. What happens when it comes to catfishing? You are presented with someone, you expect to meet that someone or interact with them in some way, and then you find out that that person is not the same person as that you expected. It can be painful. It can be kind of devastating. There is, of course, I think it's an MTV TV show. I could be wrong about it being MTV, but there is the American TV show that focuses on this stuff, which has probably made it more prevalent and more common knowledge as to what it is. But it's kind of a toxic thing that's kind of just growing, and the internet has helped it grow, but the internet isn't really the cause just by itself. And so as a result, I want to go through the three different types, and I will be relaying my own experience during. So the first one, and this is one that I think is probably more people than not. And that is the kind of person who will put out a picture of themselves or do something else, show themselves off in a certain way using someone else's image, using someone else's details, purely because they are lacking in confidence in themselves. Now, I actually had this. I had a friend of mine kind of put me in touch with someone else who they thought I would get on very well with. At the time when I was single and all the rest of it, and they thought, oh wow, we've got this friend, we're going to play matchmaker. So they put me in touch with this person. Had a great time passing emails back and forth and all the rest of it. And that was all very well and good. Now, I got told that this person didn't have social media by this person, and so when it came to pictures and whatever else that got sent, I had no other point of reference, which it was hard to believe that this individual wasn't necessarily on social media. But at the same time, I've taken breaks from social media in the past. I've never really posted a huge amount of social media privately, and most of my engagement with social media has come through the creation of this channel, the running of my business, all that kind of thing. In which case, though, I was like, fair enough. Had a lovely conversation until one evening I was just searching the internet. Interesting, wonderful things, just tapping away, going down the Wikipedia kind of black hole, as it were, with various things. And yet then I came back to Google. And on Google, I can't even remember what search term I was looking up, but there was a picture, and it was the picture of the person who I had been talking to, apparently. And then I clicked on it, and it was a link to Facebook. I was like, oh, this is very strange. And then it was, oh, this is actually a friend of the friend that set me up with this person, but there's a different name, and it says that they live in the States. I mean, maybe they don't have their Facebook because they've moved over to the UK or whatever else. But either way, I'm going to ask my friend about it. Nope, it turned out that because this girl that I had been put in touch with had very little confidence in herself, she had decided that she would steal the identity, or at least maybe about 2/3 of the identity of one of my friends' other friends to then masquerade as that individual. Now, because this is based around fear, like complete fear, fear of judgment, fear of kind of reprisal, all that kind of thing. That's why this kind of catfish happens to do this. They don't want to be judged for who they are. They want to borrow from someone else for a time. Now, because this is very emotional, there isn't usually an awful lot of sensible thought that goes into this. In which case, that's why the question came up. Well, what did she expect was going to happen when you showed me a picture that she had sent you? What was the expectation of meeting up and stuff like that? And chances are, the expectation wasn't there, or at least it was there, but it was something that they felt that they could deal with at a later date, after they had maybe come clean or whatever else. But again, it's fear. There's not that kind of forethought involved. There's a lot of kind of sat there wallowing in it and worrying, but not an awful lot of that worry is focused on what's about to happen. It's all focused on in the moment. And that's because emotions make us do crazy things. Now, the way that I would suggest dealing with this is, obviously, don't get in a relationship with a person like this, because they've started off the interaction with you by basically lying to you. And there is still a very large legal discussion as to whether or not catfishing should be made illegal, because elements of it can be identity theft and fraud, essentially. But when it's someone who is just collapsing under their own insecurities, as much as you might want to just go, no, you lied to me, and then get angry and brush it off, my suggestion would be, don't get angry. Ask why. And there's a good chance that the person on being asked why will run away and hide and break all kinds of contact with you. But, look to be understanding, because there has to be some reason why this person thinks that they are so terrible that they had to steal someone else's identity to even interact with you. A little bit of understanding, maybe, it might not help you directly, but it might help that other person get past whatever it is the they've got themselves stuck into, probably wallowing in self-loathing and things like that. And so I would suggest asking why, being understanding, but obviously kind of not really going for it. Now, the next one, this was actually a kind of very sad situation. But I was playing online. The first Guild Wars, amazing game if you haven't played it. Bit dated now in certain ways, but still better than the predecessor, because they kind of ruined it. But that's a video for another time. But I was playing on it with a friend, and to my knowledge, this person that I've been playing with for probably the best part of a year or two, was female. And there was nothing romantic at all, but one day they were just chatting with me, and then they came clean that they were actually a guy. And again, the thing that I did was sit and ask, and question rather than judge. Because again, this hadn't been romantic, it hadn't been anything like that. It was simply a case of someone lying to me, and seemingly in a way that they were trying to both protect themselves, but also in this particular instance because this person was, again, insecure, worried. And on the discussing afterwards, it was a case of finding out that this individual felt that they maybe weren't the happiest in their skin, and that they didn't necessarily feel that they wanted to transition or anything like that, but that in the place that they happened to live, because they didn't live in the UK, I can't actually remember exactly where they lived, it was very frowned upon to be more effeminate. In which case he had lied about who he was simply because he was looking for understanding that he wouldn't get any other way. And so, this one I feel is maybe more of the easy one to digest, where this person wasn't trying to take advantage, wasn't lying for any other reason than to hide themselves, and if he hadn't owned up to it, I probably would have never known. But when it became apparent, again, questioning, being understanding, because again, it's either a cry for help, or it's a case of someone finding comfort in a way that maybe they know they shouldn't, but it's still a way that they have then been able to survive afterwards. And it's tough being the person being lied to take that step back and look at why, or look at how, and then having the discussion around it to kind of continue to treat someone like a friend when they've lied to you, or especially treat someone like a close friend. But it's especially in this particular instance where there's nothing demanded from you, nothing wanted from you, no romantic relationship or anything else. Ask the question. Be understanding of that person. It might be hard, but give that person maybe time to understand, because potentially you being understanding there again, when it's someone who is just looking for comfort, connection, interaction in a way that they otherwise maybe wouldn't get, you can potentially help that person a lot and build a friendship out of that momentary negative that things have started off on. That's a slightly different situation. So far we've got the person who's terrified and so is hiding who they are, and then we've also got the person who is unhappy and is just looking for connection. So what's the last one then? Well, the last one is just purely vile, and this is the kind of person who on social media, dating apps, things like that, lie about who they are purely to get money out of you, purely to get something out of you. There was one occasion where I went on a date from an online source. I can't actually remember even which dating app it was, but it was when I was first doing some experiments and things with a couple of other dating coaches around online dating. And so as a result, considering I was there, I was single, why not have some fun whilst experimenting, whilst seeing what worked and what didn't, and kind of correlating information with the others. And so this person's picture, this person's profile, they all seemed wonderful. Yeah. And they were very eager to meet up. And imagine my surprise when meeting someone in the flesh who is completely different from basically everything that was both written and shown pictorially on their profile. Bit of a surprise, bit of a shock, and the eagerness to meet up, the eagerness to interact and all that kind of thing seemed to be to get a free meal. In which case, that kind of lie I don't have time for, and I left. And I suggest that any of you guys that find yourself in the same situation do the same. But it's a case of those are the three kinds of catfishing that I've come across most frequently. I'm sure there are a couple of other versions as well, a couple of other things. But those are the three, and I feel the best way to deal with them happens to be understanding and care, not intimacy, but potentially just being understanding of there being a lot of broken people in the world, and this is a way that they have tried to cope and maybe failed. Be understanding of that, and maybe ask questions, see what they were thinking, how they thought it would all work, or if it would work at all, and try and help that person kind of edge towards realizing that they didn't need to do this. But then in regards to that last one, that person is just a bit of an asshole and is looking to get something for nothing, basically. In which case, don't give them the time of day. But anyway, guys, I'd love to hear your experiences and your thoughts. You know, are you someone who has been catfished? I know an awful lot of people have. Are you someone who maybe did catfish someone else? And why did you do it? You know, I'd love to hear those kind of thoughts and opinions as well. And, you know, what was the fallout for both sides? But either way, guys, I'd love to hear your thoughts and opinions. I'd love to hear your experiences. But otherwise, thank you very much for watching, and I will see you in the video later. Take care. Thank you very much for watching, guys. If you enjoyed this video or found it interesting, then please drop us a like, share this video, and subscribe for more. And I'll see you in the video later. Take care.